Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Healing Hearts Podcast. I am your host, Sarai, and I am here with Julie. How are you today, Julie?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing good. Before we begin our episode today, I just want to ask all of you faithful listeners out there if you could gift us a little love and subscribe to our channel, or if you wherever you are listening to this podcast, to go ahead and just follow us, subscribe, so that you are notified when new episodes are coming out and you keep up with all of our shenanigans.
So give us a review. Tell us how we're doing.
Yes. Anything else that you would want to for us to talk about, we are open to it. So thank you for that. But without further ado, today's topic that we're going to be talking about, I like it. I like this one. Talking about taking your friendship into a and turning it into a relationship.
Getting out of that friend zone.
Is it possible? Do you think it's possible to get out of the friend zone?
Yes, 100%.
Were you friend zoned before? Is that why you're saying that?
Um, Someone in friend zone, and then I ended up married him. So,
Oh, so you were friend zone and then you married the guy. Nice.
yep.
So there you have it. You can leave the friend zone and turn it into even a long-lasting
I
relationship.
mean, I didn't know that it was like just friend zone, but I thought, yeah, it was friend zone. I don't know if that's fair to be like, oh, he was just friend zone, but started off as friend zone into
But
relationship.
were you friend zoned or did you friend zone him?
I think I was more of the friend zoner on him, like no, we're just friends. But
Mm.
but that guy just slipped me off my feet. So I think it was really good. I think it was really good to be friends first, and we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, I agree. Well, before we get into that, then, since you kind of took it to the next level,
Yes.
what are some of the signs that like indicated to you like this is the right time, or like this is somebody that I can see in a romantic way instead of just a friend?
Hmm. Well, I guess everybody's different, but for me, it was really getting to know him and his personality, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's so great. He was great, and um, just how he cared for me. And I was a single parent at the time, so he really cared for me. And then once he got to meet my son, eventually, then, how he also cared about him and just his character and seeing like, wow, I can like be in a relationship with this person because
Yeah.
so much care and love and it was just kind of natural. It was a kind of a natural progression. It wasn't
Mhm.
like from one day to the next. It was just a natural. Like we were best friends probably before we really, you know, became what they say today is official.
That's nice. That's nice. I agree with you. I think that once you understand and you get to know a person on a different level, and why sometimes becoming friends first, I think that developing a friendship first really gets you get to understand somebody and meet them and see what their values, like their visions and stuff like that. Like, hey, I kind of want that too, and I like
Yeah.
this about you, and I didn't know you were like into that interest or whatever.
Yeah.
Was there any like mutual attraction like in the beginning, or was it just like it developed through time?
Um, I think that he was initially attracted to me and I was also attracted to him, but I was just like, didn't want to be in a relationship. I told myself, no relationship, no relationship, no relationship. But he got me. And sometimes that's what it takes, right? Like you just don't want a relationship. You're just trying to find yourself. You're trying to work on yourself. And I was really young then. I didn't know what working on myself like it is now. Like the young people, they really know how to work on themselves these days. They learn about attachment styles. We got TikTok. We got all these things that are telling, like pumping all this stuff into kids now, so they're much more aware. Um, but yeah, I was definitely attracted to him, but I just didn't want to have a relationship at that time until he swept me off my feet, and I was like, yes, this is the guy for me.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
those are like big signs that you should pay attention to as far as like if you are thinking like could my best friend or like a good friend turn into something romantic? Like if you start feeling like a mutual attraction to each other, you start spending more time together. Um, I remember one of my good friends, when I met him, I was like you. I was like, I'm not looking for anything. I just got out of something, blah blah blah. And he was like, yeah, me either. But then we just, I don't know, something like just clicked within us and we just started hanging out a lot. And the reason why I never like it never went into the romantic level in the beginning, even though later he tried to, and I was like, at that point I was like, I can't see you that way anymore. Mainly because after I started, I was like, oh wow, like this guy is like everything that I've been kind of asking for. Good job, good looks, he's whatever, you know what I mean? And I feel great with him. I feel like secure. I feel like safe. And then we went out one night and we were at his apartment and we were just like chilling. And then it was stupid of him to make this comment because later on he regretted it. He's like, I would never be with somebody that has a kid already. And I was like, well, I guess I remove myself from the equation because I'm not even going to attempt to like even say anything now because you don't want to be with somebody that has kids. And I understood why he was saying that because he said he wanted to have his own family eventually. And then he changed his mind a lot about that. But I was like, okay, well, uh, I guess we're not going to go down that route and we'll just be friends. And as this was like in a span of like maybe like a year and a half. He later was like, "Oh, well, you're my favorite person and this and that and I want to like have something with you." And at that point I was like, "Nah, dude, remember that night that you said that you didn't want to be with somebody with kids?" He's like, "Well, yeah." He's like, "But it was just I didn't know and like now I know you and you are like so much what I'm looking for." I'm like, "I don't think I am." Uh, so I just kind of was like, and I just don't see you that way anymore. I kind of like put it into my mind that we're just going to be friends. So, but I do remember the moment that sorry, my cats are fighting now. Um, I knew the moment that I felt so comfortable with him was the moment that I showed up to his apartment wearing no makeup after a facial. I was like, oh yeah, I definitely like this guy because if I'm allowing you to see me without anything on, there's there's something there. But if like I said, if you're looking for a sign as far as like can I I think you'll do things that you are comfortable with that person, but I it's really up to you, which kind of leads me to my second question because since you've been there, um who initiated like the talk about becoming a couple and getting it out of the friend zone?
I think he did probably, he did, but it was really mutual because I just saw the signs that, this was moving towards something more serious, even though I had said that it's not really what I wanted. It was
Mhm.
definitely something that I wanted. I figured out, I was like, and but try not to take it fast. But we did. We got engaged in like 8 months, got married a year, a year and 8 months later, and had a child another year and later. So it was like fast moving. But um,
Yeah.
one of the things I wanted to say was the good thing about getting to know someone, keeping them in that friendly area is you just build that emotional connection with someone.
Mhm.
And the great thing about at least what I discovered is I was just myself
Mhm.
because they were my friend. He was my friend and he was himself as well. So there was no like, oh, I'm trying to be this and you're trying to be that. And then you learn about each other later on and you're like, well, you're not like that at all. We were
Yeah.
just ourselves. And I think that was so important. That's why I talk about authenticity so much that people, they're just tired of hearing that word. But if you could just go into your relationships as your real self, You
Yeah.
know, not saying you have to share all your goods, but if you could just go in and be Sarai or Julie or, the real you,
Yeah.
the one who you want people to know and love, I think you're going to just be so much more successful in love, even if it doesn't work out. Not everybody's for you, but just going in as yourself is really important.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Um, being, I think that when you start dating and you find somebody that you're very, very attracted to, you kind of morph into what you think they are looking for just to be, and you become what I call like the pick me girl because
Yes.
you're trying to get picked from like a sea of choices, and then you can only keep up this like facade for so long before like real things start to come out. So yeah, I agree with you. Just being yourself, and I mean, I really at this point in life, like, what does it matter? Like, what do you have to lose other than just maybe not the right partner for you?
Next, like, right. Like, I don't understand why we try to be something we're not when, like, if we're gonna date someone, like, why should we care? We just want to be ourselves
Yeah.
and not somebody that they think we are or think we're
I think
not.
especially, yeah, especially if you're dating because you want to get married.
Right. Like,
Like if the marriage is the end goal, like you're going to be living with this person eventually, like are you going to, like, let's say for me for example, am I going to wake up with a full face of makeup every day? No. Like I don't look like this when I wake up. I sometimes look in the mirror, I'm like, holy crap, like you change a lot, girl. But you know what I mean? Like I eventually will share myself once I feel comfortable, and I always say, and I like whenever I go, or when I was dating, I was like, this takes time. Like, if you want me to look like this all the time, you're gonna have to be like giving me time to get ready or whatever. I'm like, but this is who I am. And like I'm telling you, that guy, I remember him. Whenever I do my makeup on, that I'm doing like a get ready with me or whatever, I laugh because it reminds me of him all the time. He's like, so is this like a sign that you're giving me right now? I'm like, a sign of what? And he's like, well, it's because I had a friend once that told me that if a girl allows you to see her like do her makeup, it's because she likes you. And I'm like, I don't know who told you that lie, but no, I'm killing two birds with one stone right now, dude. I'm like, I get to talk to you and I get to do my makeup because we're meeting for dinner or whatever, and we can like chit chat right now, and I like to talk to you. So, no, it's not because I like you. I just feel comfortable with you. So, take it for what it is. But at that point, you know what I mean? I was already like in the I'm not seeing you in a romantic way anymore because you kind of shot down my opportunity a few months ago. So I at that point, but I agree with you. Just being yourself and just showing who you are from the very beginning. It's a recipe for a good foundation in your relationship. But to give you some pointers or what I would think on how to initiate the conversation without maybe risking the friendship is just, again, like we were saying right now, just to be honest and be like, this is how I'm feeling. And just be really prepared for the answer because they might not be on the same page as you. When don't take the rejection as like they don't want to be with you. It's just they might not see you in that way, and then get butthurt and then like end the relation the or the friendship because you were expecting something else. So I guess if you're putting high expectations on that you're gonna have like this romance moment, this movie moment, then
right. It's not
sorry.
typical.
You know what I mean? It doesn't happen that way. So just be prepared for any type of feedback that you might get because you never know. And then when you are like having that conversation, like do have clarity on like why you want to be with this person. It's not just like, oh, I feel like I can be with you. You feel like you can be with me because we get along for now. Like, no, it's like really point out the things in that person that that is making you want to be or taking your friendship to the next level because they might be thinking something else. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
How would you handle if somebody rejected you? If you expressed your feelings, what would you tell someone as to how to handle the rejection?
What would I tell somebody if how to handle the rejection?
Yeah, if someone's like, "Oh, but what if they say no?" Like, what would you tell them? What would be your advice? Not not in a coaching role, but in if you were talking to your friend.
Well, I just think like I just think like a coach all the time now, but even with my friends, I would just like say like not to take it personal to begin with. Like it's not a personal thing. It's not a rejection of you in a sense. Like yes, they are rejecting you, but it's not a rejection of you. It's just a rejection of sometimes people do get scared. And when you bring something like this, maybe they're just reacting out of fear in that moment. And their first answer is like, oh, well, I don't know. Like, no. And give them some space and time to really process what you just kind of proposed because you got to remember you're taking a good friendship, somebody that you are going to for so many things, and now you're trying to turn it into something more romantic that maybe that was not in their like vicinity of thoughts, you know what I mean? So I if it was a personal friend, because I'm gonna be honest, I talk to all my friends like as if I were coaching them either way. I talk to my parents as if I were coaching them now. So because I'm always now in the mentality of like, well, what are you really thinking? Like what is it that you really want? And when I talk to my friends all the time, it's in that mentality of like, what is your end goal here? And I would ask like, why now? Like, what is it about that person that you want them to to be something more special in your life? And if it is the rejection, then what can you do to just kind of move forward? Like, is it going to really affect your friendship, or are you going to be okay with not having this person? Because at that point then it does have to be that conversation of, am I going to continue to have this friendship or not? Am I that hurt? Am I that disappointed? You know what I mean? So I would be asking a lot more questions and more I guess I'm more support, be like there. But I like first of all I would say like it's not a personal thing. Like don't take it as like as an attack, or uh don't take the rejection as like you're not good enough, because you are. It's just that that person just doesn't see you in that light. Just give it time and let them process. Sometimes we need time to process because it's like
Yeah.
a big shock of like, oh shit, I didn't think we were like that. And
Yeah.
you never know. They might get curious and they might say, okay, well, let's try it out. Let's do a test run.
True. I would say, like, if you're feeling a certain way about somebody and you think that they might be the same, have the same feelings for you, but you don't know, just my advice would be don't assume anything.
Hmm.
Talk to your friend, express how you're feeling. Don't try to go in for that kiss.
Oh, yes. No, don't do that.
Don't do that. Just express how you're feeling. If they're your friend, they're your friend and they're going to be your friend regardless. So I would just
But how would you like, what advice would you give them if the rejection happened?
pop them in the throat. No, just kidding. I'd be like, well, if it was me, I mean, if you're telling me to give advice to a friend, or are you trying like what? If it was me and I was in that situation, I'd be like, what? Like, I'd try to probably make a joke about it because I make jokes about everything. And if they're my friend, I would have the kind of friend that would be like, yeah, no, no, that's gross, or something like that. And I'd probably feel hurt inside. I'd probably, if it was me, I'd say, man, that hurts, But I get it, I didn't know that. I thought maybe you had the same feelings for me, but if you don't, that's cool. I don't want it to affect our friendship. Uh,
Mhm.
but I do have those feelings, and I'm not going to deny that I have those. But at least I
Yeah.
know now that you're coming from a different place. But that's me. I know that's me just being me. But I know a lot of people would feel a definite sense of rejection, or maybe not want to talk to that person anymore. And then no longer they friend zone. Now they're no friends zone.
Yeah.
They're no, but
Yeah.
that's just the risk you take. So you really have to decide if that is worth losing if you do um, try to change that relationship.
And that's why I say, like, don't take the rejection as personal. It's just that, like you said, the person might not see you in that same light, and you have to be prepared for it. You have to be prepared. I think that as a friend trying to take it into a relationship, you should be more prepared for the rejection than the welcoming of it, because
Yes.
you're probably going to get the rejection first before you get the welcoming. And that's what I'm saying. I would give that person time after you have kind of declared your feelings and everything. Then I'm going to give you time to think and process. I'm still your friend no matter what. That's what I like, the type of advice that I would give to a friend. It's like, just give it time, dude. Like, why are you trying to like get an answer right away? You're not asking to, unless you ask to get married and you're asking for a marriage proposal and you need an answer then and there. But even then, like,
Yeah.
give them time. Give them time. So, in your relationship, like, what adjustments did you have to, or changes did you guys have to do in regards to like the dynamic in your relationship, since you guys were friends and now you're taking more into like the romance level?
For us, we're just not a good example of this because it was just really natural. We hung out a lot. We would laugh and go out and do stuff. It just wasn't like physical. But then of course it got physical, and it just was a simple transition. It was a simple transition. There
Were
was
you,
no
were you guys awkward about like your first kiss?
um kinda, kinda, because he went in for the kiss and I didn't.
You're like, whoa,
I
what?
didn't go for the kiss. I didn't know what was happening. Um, but no, we're not a good example just because ours was just such a smooth transition, and I know it probably doesn't actually work that way for a lot of people. Just
But no, but even like that question about the first kiss, like you didn't go for it and he did. Like that is something that people need to adjust to. It's like you see your friend and like you just like high five them or you just hug them or whatever. Like, I don't know, push them. I don't know how you say hi to your friends. And especially if it's like a guy friend, and all of a sudden you see them and you're like, what do we do now? Like, do we
yeah,
shake hands? Do we kiss? Do we like what the fuck do we? And that's what I'm talking about. Like, what kind of like, because it's the little things, the little adjustments that really take a friendship to an actual romantic relationship. So,
yeah. For us, I think we went on a first date, and that was like it was a date, but it wasn't a date for me. It was like, oh, we can go out, like we can go out together, and we did, but I wouldn't think it was like a romantic date, like kiss on the first date, like no. Um, but yeah, so it was a little awkward, like because first of all, that was like the first time we had known each other for over a year, and like we just knew each other, and then we go on a first date, and it's like he doesn't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. We're just going out and having a good time.
hmm,
But yeah, it was a little bit of a transition, but we talked a lot. Like, when you first start talking to somebody, you're talking on the phone for hours, but like it was a friendship, but then it was not really a friendship because we were moving in the direction of not friendship. So he was
yeah,
really like super friend, but we were best friends before we really got into it, like into a relationship. But it was
yeah.
such a smooth transition from the point.
Yeah. And I guess
Not
it kind of
even
depends on your friendship too. Like you
yes.
said, you guys were friends for like a year. Imagine if you've been friends for like 10 years. And then all
Oh,
of a sudden you're like, "Oh, let's like get into a relationship." Like that's a lot of like moving parts there of like I've known you for 10 years of my life and now I have to see you in a different light. I guess if you start putting pressure in regards to like the light that you want to put him in, that's when you have to talk. And these are the adjustments that like I mean like how your expectations of what you're looking for in the relationship and talking about like how you're going to move forward and like when is it going to be weird to kiss, like you know what I mean, because I feel like those are all the little things that kind of make it I remember this guy used to joke around with him all the time and that was my fault. Maybe that's why he thought I was like into him. We went to so we were driving around and we were in his car and it was just one of those things like I when I'm very comfortable with somebody, I am very touchy feeling and like I don't care. So he was driving and I like extended my arm and I just like started rubbing the back of his head. Just like and I started making jokes about it. I'm like, why is your hair like all tangled? And then I was like, why are you wearing? Because he used to wear like earrings. I'm like, why are your ears pierced? Like, why are you wearing those hoops? I'm like, what is this? Like 2002? Like, who are you? Like, who do you think you are? And I was like, always like picking little things. And like, I started noticing that he started changing things about, I'm not gonna wear my earrings anymore. And I called him out on. I'm like, why aren't you wearing your earrings anymore? Well, you said blah blah. I'm like, now you're gonna take my advice about certain things. And then I guess the peak of it all was we had gone to Walgreens because we were at his apartment and I was like, let's go get some chips and candy because we were going to watch the movies. And he's like, okay, well, let's go. So we get to Walgreens and it was during the winter time. So I'm wearing like this oversized sweater and me being stupid, I start in my belly and then I was like, and I look at him like, aren't you going to pay? And then he's like, what? I'm like, you're going to make me pay? I'm like, you get me pregnant first and then you want me to pay? And he was like, what the fuck is going on? And I could not like keep a straight face anymore. And the cashiers are like, just like ringing us up, like, what the hell is going on? But I was joking with him. And then we get into the car and he's all like, what the fuck was that? And I'm like, it was a joke, dude. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, why didn't you just go with him? Like, you usually go with the joke. He's like, and then that's when he's like, I don't know, Sade. He's like, you've just been acting weird and like you've been giving me all these like weird vibes and hints. I'm like, I'm not giving you anything. I'm like, I'm just being a friend, but I guess I'm just gonna keep my hands to myself. I'm like, and you know what? I'm like, now it's awkward. I'm just gonna go home and not like I don't even want to watch a movie with you. He's like, no, no, no. He's like, it's my fault. But ever since then, like there was a lot of things that I guess in my mind, I started to think about it like, okay, well, maybe now I can start seeing him in a different light. And I was trying to make the adjustments of like, can I see myself? Can I hold his hand? Can I do this? Can I do that? And I guess subconsciously, I was trying to do all of that. And like, that's why like the rubbing of the head and like, you know what I mean? And I was like, and it just felt weird that I was like, no, I just don't see myself that when we actually did try it's not like we actually tried. We just said we were going to, but never did anything about it.
mhm.
That I was just like, yeah, I think we're better off as friends, dude. But when, and that's why I mean, like the little adjustments of like the awkwardness face of now I have to like hold your hand. Now I can kiss you, but I don't even like how does that make me feel? So if you are thinking about taking that relationship to the next level, like you are going to have these kind of conversations and really I guess at the end of the day, I don't know, you tell me because you ended up marrying the guy. um would you say that you kind of prioritize keeping your friendship more than like turning it into a relationship?
No, we went straight into relationship.
So you went straight into relationship mode, like you were no longer like, this is still my friend, and like, not treat you like a friend, like now I have a kissing friend, but like the dynamic of what the foundation of your friendship was, like you kept
Didn't-
that.
That didn't change. We stayed.
Okay, so yeah, you prioritize that part.
3 years later, we're still like the same best buds, friends, but just we have so many other benefits to it.
That's what
you
I'm
know.
saying. A kissing Frank now.
A kissing, yeah, I kiss all the time, and I can hold his hand. It's not awkward, you know. No, it definitely did not change for us. There was no awkward, like after that, like first date thing, and that, yes, because then we kind of became the friends, and then best friends, and then relationship, and that all kind of happened within a few months. Um, but yeah, it, that friendship level never went away. That caring person that we were to each other during that
Mhm.
friendship phase stayed 24 years later.
So then, yes, you did prioritize that part of your relationship because it was a big part of why you guys
Yeah, I think it just
accepted.
evolved into something more.
Hmm.
That friendship and best friendship to relationship just evolved into a lifetime partnership.
Yeah, I like that. How
I don't know
nice.
if I made sense, but yeah, you had a
No,
good
yeah, you did.
progression.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just curious. That's why.
Yeah, but
Because
I'm not, I know my story is not like a lot of others. So I don't want to sound like, that I don't think we are unicorns. Sometimes I think we are when I talk about our relationship, but I think there's other relationships out there that have those type of nice stories. I'm not saying our marriage is perfect, but I'm saying, we have maintained this level of friendship and care for one another throughout from the beginning to where we are today.
yeah, well, that's nice. That's that's nice. At any point, did you have like any doubts or fears of like where it was heading?
Like in the beginning when we were just friends.
Well, at any point in like when you both decided to like, okay, we're gonna take this into romance territory.
Well, I just I didn't want another a long-term relationship because I feel like I was just always in long-term relationships. And I just wanted to be by myself when I had met him. I was by myself for a little while. And I was like, yes, this is nice. Just me and my child. We're just having a grand old time. And then, you know, um, it was fine. It was fine. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's answering your question. What did you ask that I'm not answering?
No, you did. Like, were you scared or did you have any doubts that were like making, like, might have been like in the back of your mind?
Well, I think, yeah, I just like, oh, this is going to be another long term relationship. I could just see this guy so great and it's going to be a long term relationship. But then when I really got to know him, I was like, oh no, I'm marrying this guy. Like, this is my guy. This is the one. So
Mhm.
if that happens, like, that's fantastic, right? That was easy.
Yeah. And it obviously like worked out for you. But I guess this question is coming from like, because a lot of us might have fears or doubts of like, oh, if I do this and then it doesn't work out, like what's going to happen to my friendship? Let's take it back to that 10-year friendship. Like, what the hell's going to happen after 10 years of being good friends and now we kind of venture into this new territory and it doesn't work out? Like, I think those are the biggest things that you might be kind of questioning and why you would say I'd rather not and keep you as a friend.
So I actually have had this situation. One of my dear friends. We were in a relationship. It was probably my first relationship in like fifth grade. And we remained friends. And because, fifth grade, it doesn't work out. And he moved away and then he came back and we tried to have a relationship again, but we were just friends. And I always felt like he was just a friend. Like he's a great friend. We're just not meant to be in a relationship. Luckily, we are still friends today from like, luckily that he was such a nice person to be like, okay, she broke my heart and she doesn't be in a relationship with me, but now he's married, he has a child, and I'm married, and we're all friends. All four of us are friends. And it's beautiful because I still have that fifth grade friend that has been my friend for so long and knows. he's been with me for through so much, right? So that also worked out. So it can work out. I'm gonna say, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, and that also has to do with time. It wasn't like just, "Oh, okay, cool. Like we didn't work out. I'll see you tomorrow." You're gonna have to give yourself some time to kind of
Yeah,
heal from that. Because I know I remember when this guy and I were like, okay, well, let's try it. And then he was supposed to, at that moment, he was moving out of El Paso and it's like, oh, I'm going to come into town and like, I want to see you and blah, blah, blah. And then it just things like didn't work out. And days that he was supposed to be here, I wasn't available. And then I was supposed to go and then things got changed. And it was just like so much confusion that I was like, I don't even know if I want to continue this. Like I'm like setting myself up here to get hurt again. And I just told him like I don't think that we're both really trying like we said we wanted to try. So I rather like keep you as a friend and not even move any further into anything that might like make our friendship not work out anymore. Like I don't want to lose you as a friend. So I and then he had the same talk with me as well. He's like I don't know. He's like it's just weird now and he's like I think it's just better. But we did have to take some time from each other to kind of like get over that like weird awkward phase. And I don't know, I like didn't talk to him for like months and I reached out to him like, hey, like are you still alive? And then he shared with me that he was getting engaged and I was like, holy fuck. I was like, that was fast. And I was like, well, I'm very happy for you. And this is why I always kind of feel like I'm like, good luck. What is it? Good luck, Chuck, or what was it? That dude from the movie. Like, you get with me, and then you find your husband or your wife. Um, that's me. I was like, what the hell? I'm like, am I that? Like, and I need to go get something cleansed or something because like everybody that has like left me has gotten married right after me. So what the fuck? But anyway, when he told me that, I was like genuine happy for him because I was like, well, I know that you wanted this deep down inside, even though you put up a facade that you didn't. But deep down inside, you know you wanted to get married and you want to have kids and all that, and I didn't. So I think that was maybe that was one of the things that I always had in the back of my mind of like I'm not even gonna give him what he really wants, and is it even fair to that I know my friend and I know what he claims not to want, but I know that he actually wants it. So is it really fair for me to not give him that and knowing that I'm not going to? So maybe that's why I went into it with kind of like iffy energy.
yeah,
And it was one of those like it was that little voice of doubt in the back of my mind all the time. Like, if it doesn't work out, I don't want to lose him as a friend. I'd rather have him as a friend than not have him at all. So I think we both came to a good come to Jesus in a consensus of like, let's just leave it and move
yeah.
forward with our friendship. And we're still good friends. We still like check in with each other. His daughter just turned 1 recently, and I'm like, she's so precious. And I was like, I'll be there for whenever and anything. And that's just the kind of friendship that I developed with him that I'm like, I don't ever want to lose that. Like, why would I even risk it? But that was me and my experience of it didn't really work out. But I was like, I did communicate like the things that I was scared of in the very beginning. Like, and if it doesn't work out, like what's going to happen? Because I don't want to lose you as a friend. And I think that's valid too, to
Totally.
say
Yeah.
it's valid to have that conversation and discuss that, I guess, exit plan if it doesn't, especially if you've had a long relationship or a long friendship with this person and you don't you don't want to lose that person in your life. Because there are people, I honestly do feel that I have met my soulmates in 2 men that are great friends because
Mm,
I can stop talking to them for months and I pick up the phone and it's like we never like stop talking.
mm,
And
mm,
I've seen them go into relationships and leave and other things and they always check in like And it's so funny because this other guy too, like he always checks your birthday, my daughter's birthday, my mom's birthday, my parents' anniversary, and like they know him and everything. Like my, you know what I mean? Because he was my a good friend that I always would bring around, and he's always been. So I have two people in my life that I I can honestly say they are my soulmate, but in that friendship level. Like it will never be a romantic level because I wouldn't want to lose them
Hmm.
ever.
Yeah.
So, but it's valid to have those fears and to discuss them and talk them out and say, well, okay, I'm willing to try this out, but if it doesn't work out, like what then? Like are we just going to go back to being friends? And you can, but you are going to have to give yourself a little bit of time because then it's just kind of like having another relationship where it didn't work out and you still need to heal, even
Yeah.
though it's your friend. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yep.
mean? Yeah. So that was, I think that was one of the biggest things that I took away from that. I was like, I don't want to lose my friend because then who am I going to make fun of later on?
I,
Were there, let's say, were there like any like rules or like boundaries that were like needed to be set in regards to like your transitioning your friendship to now like a relationship, like women that he was allowed to talk to or not allowed to talk to, like exes being in the picture? No.
nope. It was so easy. It was so easy. Neither of us said anything like that. We just went into it, but I think we had talked so much as like really good friends.
Hmm.
We kind of knew each other, and so just talked so much like you do in a relationship. You know, when you start up a new relationship, you're talking all the time, you're on the phone for hours. Well, we were like that too. So yeah, no, there was like, no, like you can't talk to your ex, nothing like that. No. Mm-mm.
No. But I think at that point, like if you already kind of develop a friendship with somebody, you have already kind of voiced your opinions about certain exes because you were in the friend mentality and you're like, I don't like that person, like you shouldn't be even talking to that person, but at least I know that I would feel a lot more comfortable as a friend to let you know, like, why are you talking to that asshole? Like what the hell is your problem? That if we were to transition it into a romantic relationship, you already know what my thoughts are about that person. Like why would you even have them in the picture unless you have kids or something? But you know what I mean? Like what's the point? So it's one of the benefits of being a friend first that you have already voiced your opinion about all of their exes and how they're trash. And if you transition it over successfully to a relationship, then you can say, you know what I think about your exes, and I really don't want them to be, if that's where you want to take the relationship, I don't want them to be part of our love bubble. So,
Mm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
for us, like Gabe, my son had a dad, so you know, and he's obviously my ex, so there was no. My husband would never say like, "Oh, I don't want you to talk to him." Don't. He would never say that
but
because.
that's different. Like that's the father of your child.
But some people would be like, "Oh, I don't want you." No, people would say that. I don't want you talking to that person, you know, or all over text, and I want to be able to see your phone, and I want to see. Blah, blah, blah. My husband's not like that. He wouldn't.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like at that point, then you'd be like, who are you? Like
But
when
people deal
when
with
you
that.
transition from a friend to a relationship, like you weren't like this when you were my friend. So
But people are like that in relationships. Like, oh, I don't want you to, whatever.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that. I
Well,
think that if you would see that in a friendship to begin with, or even like you seeing them as a partner in a relationship as a friend, you would know like there's certain things about them that you don't like. So maybe you wouldn't be even attempting to have a relationship with that person because you'd be like, I don't want to be with somebody like that. So, um, I mean, we're talking about in reality, I feel like, and then how you said it in the very beginning, when you turn a friendship into a relation to a romantic relationship, you kind of already built something to where you feel so comfortable with that person that it has a good foundation. The only reason that you're even thinking about taking the next step with this person is because they actually check off of all if not some, if not all of the boxes of what you are looking for in a relationship that you have been dating constantly and like crazy out there, and you keep getting like meeting all these assholes, and here's this guy that's just like, hello, what about me? You know what I
Right.
mean? And at that point, you already kind of, if you did have that kind of friendship, you kind of already gave therapy to each other about breakups. You kind of already know what you guys are looking for. You know how they react to certain things. You know how, like, their ups and downs. You know what I mean? So you already know all of that. And that's why you're even thinking or
Yeah.
considering having this type of relationship. I don't, well, at least I don't think that all of a sudden you're going to have like this different person in front of you.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you were like this as a friend, but now as a lover, you're something totally different. Like you're possessive. Holy crap. Like, but you would have already known that. And they
Right.
probably wouldn't have been your friend if that was the case. Like, I wouldn't want to have a possessive friend. Like, no. So, um, it's one of those like rare things. And I agree with you. Like when you said in the beginning, having a friendship, build a friendship first and then take it from there is the healthiest way. So, I don't know. Ladies, gentlemen out there, give your best friend a shot. I'm just kidding. I mean, if it's something that, like, if you are, I always, and I, whenever I think of that, it reminds me of this, like, song in Spanish where he's like, I'm your best friend and I'm sitting here and I see you crying for all these idiots, but you won't give me a chance. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yes.
It's like I want to be everything. He's like, I want to be the guy that you want to like that you're crying over, but you won't
Yeah.
even give me a fucking chance.
Oh,
It always reminds me of that because I'm like, it's true. Sometimes women, we're like, oh, he's too nice. He's better off as a friend. Why? Because we're looking for the bad boy or somebody that makes us feel a certain way or the attraction and blah blah blah. And this is why I always tell my singles like, well, I didn't feel attracted. It was one date.
yeah.
It was one fucking date. Like, do you really think like mutual, like deep attraction is going to be? I'm like, if you are looking and you're dating and you are basing it off of like, he didn't make me feel horny, then go get laid. That's what you want. You don't want a partner. You just want to get fucked. Like, let's be honest here. This is why I like listening to Matchmaker Maria. She's like, masturbate before you go on a date. Then you won't be thinking about that. Try
Wow.
it. Try it and see what happens and you won't be thinking about that.
Yeah.
um what was that movie, something about Mary?
Oh my God. Yes.
But you know what I mean, like if you already like going into that mentality of like, oh, I'm not attracted to my friend, how would you know? You've been attracted to assholes,
Yeah.
so give it a
Pick
shot.
the nice guy. Pick the nice guy. You'll be glad you did.
Yeah, of course. Yes, yes, yes. I guess what I want to like end this whole topic with is, and it has to do with like not trying to make something happen where like if you don't feel it, you don't feel it. It's fine. But
Yeah.
don't force, especially if, like you're trying to make it happen and like you've had the conversation and it's like not going anywhere. Don't force it because then you're going to just end up damaging that relationship and that friendship and you're not gonna, everybody's gonna lose. So just have very clear intentions and like be clear with yourself as to why you want to move forward with this attempt of taking your relationship or your friendship to the next level. Because, and then when you do present it, say those things
Yes.
and
I
then just give it space and time. Any final thoughts on this?
think you said it. Just I would just say communication. If you're gonna attempt to move from friend to relationship, just communicate your feelings slowly, be patient, and hopefully the other person feels the same way you do.
Yeah. And to my bestie out there, if you're listening to this, call me bitch because I need to go visit you.
Okay.
But, huh?
Okay then.
I'm telling you, that's how we get along. Like, I don't know.
Better be listening, bitch.
Yes. Call me bitch. Um, but as always, don't forget to choose you, love you, pick you, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye.